talk about the...
Welcome to another episode of the US D2D Flyer Distribution Podcast. You can follow us at usd2d.com and pick up a copy of the book titled Start Your Own Door-to-Door Flyer Distribution Business. This is Vincent Alexander, I'm your host, and today I'm on the line with my new friend, Bob Chapman. Bob Chapman runs a flyer distribution business out of Columbus, Ohio. It's called A1000 Flyers. You can access his website at a1000flyers.com. But let's go ahead and welcome Bob to the call. Hi, Bob. Are you there?
Yeah, Vincent. I'm here.
Hey, bud. So
Hi.
I received an email from you about a week ago, and you had some questions. I guess you had seen... How did you come across me, by the way? You had seen my video on YouTube. Is that what happened?
No, actually, I was at work, and luckily enough, I have a regular job that allows me to listen to podcasts and basically whatever I want to while I'm working. And so I basically use that time as a nonstop education method for reading books and listening to podcasts. And I was listening to another podcast that brought up side hustles, and one of them being flyer distribution. And I've always been wanting to do a simple startup to start working for myself. And when he said the person that was delivering those flyers learned to scale them by adding flyers to the bag, it just clicked with me like, wow, that's absolutely 100% something that I can do. So I started looking into it. And when I did, I came across your information online, and I bought your book, watched your YouTube videos, and I was like, okay, this guy's on to something, obviously. So I took all of your advice, and I've got it running. I've actually had my first customer already, and I've got 2 that are ready to go, I think, by the end of this week.
Hey, congratulations, man. It sounds like you were struck with that lightning bolt of inspiration that I was struck with when I realized I could put multiple flyers stacked together and get paid for each of them, and then run door to door and earn as much as I could. It's a pretty exciting concept when you come across, and then you realize the potential for like putting your own flyers in the packet or selling other services as well. You know, designing the flyers and printing the flyers. It just sort of it's an exciting business. There's so much possibility. So I hope you're having fun with
Absolutely.
it, and I wish you lots of success, man.
Thank you.
So in your initial email, you were asking me a question like, how did I come up with my pricing model for regular monthly customers? And
Exactly. Yeah.
Said,
So
like,
when I was, go ahead. Thanks.
Oh, you know, I offered them a discounted price if they were like a regular customer, and you were saying, you know, what's the parameters, what's the criteria in order to receive that special price? Did you have any other? Is that the question, or did you have any other?
Well, we can start. No, we can start there. I think you kind of answered that one in that you basically tell them, hey, if you want to be in my everyday mailer, you're going to get the special price. That's essentially it, right?
Yeah, like a permanent position in my flyer packet. That was the terminology I used. If you take a permanent position in my flyer packet, so if I distribute to 30,000 homes per month, then you must provide me with 30,000 flyers per month. And if they agreed to do that and just keep their flyer in my packet, then I would give them my lowest rate, which was usually 6 cents per door. I did have a carpet cleaner who refused to pay any more than 5.5 cents, and I was kind of on the fence about working with him or not. And I'm glad I did. Because I always had his flyer in my packet, and he referred me to quite a number of other clients. He got me some more business. So it dawned on me that I could create a referral system. And so that was one of your other questions that you had for me. I'm looking for it right now. I had a question. Oh, here. How do you get or encourage referrals? And so by that, I'm guessing you mean like how do I get people to like want a client to refer me to another client? Like if I'm working with a carpet cleaning store, and then now they have a buddy who has a landscaping company, and then they refer them to me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's basically how do you get them without asking. Obviously, you could just be really good at your business, and referrals will come at some point in time. But do you press the issue? Do you send out email marketing campaigns, or are you doing anything like that?
Oh, that's a great point, man. Like what you just said is, if you do a really good job of what you do, then the referrals will come automatically. People will tell other people about you, and I think that's a really good point to make. Secondly, if you're early on in the game and you're just getting started, or if you just want to encourage that aspect of marketing to generate more clients, I started a program where I offered 1 penny off for every client they referred. So in other words, if I was working with a carpet cleaning company, for example, and they were providing me with flyers, and then he went and referred me, like he's paying, let's say, 6 cents a door. So he's already paying 6 cents because he's told me he's got a permanent position in my flyer packet. So he's getting my lowest rate. Now, if he refers over 3 more clients, like a landscaping company, a pizza shop, and a house cleaning company, and now I have their flyers in my packet, I give him 3 cents off of his flyer for those referrals. So now he's only paying 3 cents per door. And I found that worked. I found that worked because if I have more flyers in my packet and I'm getting 6 cents for the other 3, then it works for me. So and I told him, hey, if you get me 6 clients, if you get me 6 flyers in my packet and we stack yours on as number 7, then the packet's going to go out. You're not going to pay anything. You're going to be getting free distribution if you can get me 6 clients. That's pretty awesome motivation for him to go spread the word about my services and refer more clients. Free flyer distribution, and that would work for me because I'd be getting my 6 cents a door from 6 different clients. Or I'm sorry, I'd have my 6 paid flyers. So the 7th one stacked on top doesn't really cost me anything more to add it in, and yet the fact that he referred those clients is what's keeping me going. So it worked for me when I did it that way. How does that sound to you?
Oh, yeah, it sounds great. I was working referrals by telling my Facebook friends, hey, you work for a company that gets business by advertising to residential customers. I'll give you $10 for every week of delivery that they purchase in advance. So if they purchase 10 weeks of delivery, you're going to get $100. That has yet to pan out for me.
Okay.
Obviously, I thought it was a great incentive, but I haven't really received any traffic on that. That was just one attempt. I wasn't really sure what else I should probably do, but considering I just had the one customer, I think I will send a follow-up email to see if they would refer me, if they would do a Google review, and possibly would they like some discounts for those referrals. So, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'll probably include that in the email.
Yeah, it sounds like you got the right idea. And, when testing any success model, you got to take a lot of action and put in the time to find out what the results might actually be. It's like when you go fishing, you can't cast one time and then expect to know whether or not the fish are biting yet. You got to put in the time, fish for an hour, try different lures and stuff, and then see what kind of results you get. So yeah, keep experimenting with it, keep testing your model, give it time to for you to really see, to observe the results of that approach and see how it works. I'm pretty confident that in time that's gonna pay off for you. What will probably happen is you'll come across certain clients who just have it in their head that, oh, I really want to refer clients over and get that discount. Some of them just won't have that in their head. They won't be so concerned about that. They have other things in their mind. But some of them will find it very attractive, and those will probably be the ones who go out and spread the word and bring in lots of clients for you. So it's just a matter of coming across that one person who has that psychology and says, oh, I want to take advantage of this discount.
Right, and since there's so much exclusivity in my bag, they're not going to have to worry about getting a competitor to join them in that. So my bag is much like yours. If I have, I may have several restaurants, but it'll be one pizza place, one Mexican restaurant, one Asian restaurant, whatever. No multiples, so there won't be that competition that they have to worry about.
Exclusive per industry at once. So it sounds like you have a flyer bag. So in your flyer bag, you only have one carpet cleaning company, one pizza shop, one landscaping company at a time. So that way you don't have flyers competing with each other in your bag. That's great. Yeah, and that's something that I do recommend doing in my book. I want to encourage people to do that because it honors your clients, it helps them, and that helps you.
Yeah, huge value add, I think.
Yeah. So let's see. You had another question for me. How am I getting in touch with marketing decision makers? How am I getting in touch with those people who want to hire me to distribute their flyers? Yeah, the decision makers. Would you like me to answer that for you now, or do you have anything to add to that question?
Yeah, so I have done a ton of cold calling. I've done some door-to-door, which, by the way, when I did the door-to-door, I didn't listen to your book first on the door-to-door. I realized the mistake I was making there. So I'll let everybody else read the book that you published to find out where that mistake is. I'm not going to give away everything.
Okay.
But when I started doing cold calling, I realized pretty quickly that getting a hold of the person that makes the decisions on that is very, very difficult to do. Either the people who answer the phone don't want to forward you to that person, or they kind of pawn you off to their
right.
to their voicemail box, or maybe if you're lucky they'll give you their email. But I was curious how you were coming across these people.
Okay, that's a great question, and I have a few different ideas come to mind. And in my experience, it's been the same. A lot of times when you put in a first phone call to a new business, a new prospect, you're going to get the person that answered the phone might not be the decision maker, and they might be playing a little bit of defense for the decision maker. You know, maybe the business owner doesn't process every call themselves; that they have someone doing that for them. And how do you actually get in touch and make contact? Well, if you're doing cold calls and you're trying to get through that, then I would say two things: organization and persistence. So keep a spreadsheet as you're making your calls and collect information as you go. So ideally, I'm looking for the name of the decision maker and their email address. And the third thing I'd be looking for is what time can I call back when I can actually speak to that person? Like, when will they be available for a call? And so I just ask those questions, just like you would ask for a sale. And like if you read the book, yeah, there's some scripting in there that I've provided for cold calling. I think one of the scripts starts with, excuse me, I was wondering, I'm not sure who it is that I need to speak to over there, but I was wondering if you could point me in the right direction and tell me who it is I need to speak to regarding my door-to-door flyer distribution business. I'm distributing flyers through the whole community, and I'd like to give them the opportunity to put a flyer in the packet before I go out. And so hopefully they're going to provide you with a name. If they really have their defense up and they're like, oh, this is a sales call and that really annoys my boss, I'm not going to put this in their face yet. I'm not ready to do that. Then at least, is there an email address I can send an email to so that I can provide the information and they can have it on file in case they decide they want to get a flyer distributed out to the community. I'm one of the only guys in town who can do it, so I'm sure they're going to want to have my info on file. So can I just email over my information? And that usually will get an email address. And from there, one of the most powerful tools has been my video commercial on YouTube, my door-to-door flyer video commercial. So I would collect thousands and thousands of these email addresses, and then I'd have my video commercial tagged onto the emails that I sent out every time. Because once people saw the video, it had a really powerful effect. People constantly calling me and emailing me to get their flyers distributed because I have that video on YouTube. So it has a powerful effect. I think it creates rapport with them. They kind of see your face. They kind of get to know your personality. They understand why you're doing it. They see that you really are doing it, that you're professional and you're putting yourself out there. So the video creates rapport with your decision makers. But yeah, as far as cold calls go, and I highly recommend cold calls. I encourage it. I think it's a great way to collect email addresses and get names of decision makers and get on the phone with decision makers. And if you put in enough calls in a day, you'll probably find yourself in a meeting that day or the following morning. You'll probably pick up clients. If you put in enough calls in a day, you'll probably pick up some clients that same day. But yeah, organization and persistence. Keep a spreadsheet so that you're asking the right questions. You're making sure, okay, what's the name of the decision buyer? What's their email address? And when can I call back to talk to that person? And those are kind of the three questions I ask for when I call around. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Actually, I remember you mentioning about the video, and I have watched your videos, and I've just been so reluctant. That's just getting in front of the camera is just something not to, be one of those suck it up buttercup moves and just get it done,
Yeah, you might have to just work with yourself on that and decide when you're going to make a video commercial, how you're going to make a video commercial. Maybe you don't even want to be in the video yourself. You can kind of come up with your own vision for a video commercial that might work for your business.
Yeah. I definitely feel like I should do that for sure.
Sure. I highly recommend it, man. The number one thing I think this business is based on is collecting tons and tons of email addresses and then sending out your video commercial consistently. Because what I would do is every time I went out and distributed flyers door to door, I'd come home and do a run report. So I would email my whole list and say, hey, everybody, I just distributed 1,000 flyers in this neighborhood, and take a look at the map. This is where I distributed flyers to. And I would do that either in an email with text and maps and images, or I would even shoot a quick little video of myself talking about it. Just shoot a quick little video. This is a run report. This is the area I covered, and then I would invite people. If you want to get your flyer distributed, contact me. And then I would tag that video onto an email and send it out to everyone. So that way they could really see that I was out there doing it consistently. Video marketing and email marketing is huge in this business. Continue to grow your email address and send out your emails and include videos so people can see you and see that you're really doing it. Now, there's some other things that I did to generate clients. First of all, I always put my flyer on top of every packet that I distributed. Whether I was going business to business or residential, I always had my little business card on the top that said door-to-door flyer distribution. Here's my phone number if you want to get your flyer distributed. That was in every packet. So that generated a lot of leads for me, and a lot of decision makers were picking up the phone and calling me directly. And
even in neighborhoods. Well, I guess business owners live somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. Business owners got to live somewhere. So when you're going through neighborhoods distributing your flyer packets, if you put your business card on the top, you're going to come across all kinds of entrepreneurs and business owners and people who want to distribute flyers. I got a lot of leads that way. I even had people pulling me over during the run. They'd pull over, they'd see what I was doing, and they'd pull over and ask me, hey, how do I get involved with your company? How do I get a flyer in your packet? I want a flyer distributed. So when they see you actually doing the work, then they know you're dependable. And I think that's kind of like the big thing. Is the big question is, are you really going to distribute my flyers? Or is this just are you just the kid down the street that's trying to pull a fast one and throw them in a dumpster? So you just got to show them that you're really doing the work. Right. And video is the best way to show them that.
Yeah, okay, very good.
Cool. I also visited the Chamber of Commerce and went to business networking meetings, and I met a lot of leads that way. And I would even call the numbers off the sides of trucks as they drove down the highway or stopped at stop signs. I'd sometimes park in a parking lot and just watch traffic drive by and just look for trucks that had phone numbers on them. And I had a good script for that. Is, hey, I'm over here on Jefferson Avenue, and I just saw you drive by. And here they are on Jefferson Avenue, and they're like, oh, okay, this is real. This is happening right now. And that got people's attention. And I'd let them know. I just want to let you know I'm the guy in town that's distributing flyers door to door. And I'm doing like $30,000 a month. So if you want to get a flyer out around the neighborhood, you can contact me. Can I give you my phone number, and can I send you an email? Can I get your email address so I can send you my contact info? And there you go, just collecting emails and getting the word out there and letting them see your videos, and it's just inevitable. The thing's going to grow like a snowball.
Very good. Yeah, networking is something that I've been trying to do a lot of lately, so collecting those email addresses in person as well.
Yeah, networking is something you've been learning to do a lot of lately. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so joining meetup groups. There's a huge networking events that take place over here all the time, so trying to get in there. But they're not every day, so got to time them up just right.
Way to go. Yeah, go to those business networking meetings and the Chamber of Commerce meetings and go and show your face and get business cards and get them their business cards. Stand up in front of the group. Hi, my name is. I do door-to-door flyer distribution here in Columbus, Ohio. If you want your flyer distributed door-to-door, I'm your guy. That's huge. Let them see your face and hear your name, and you're putting yourself out there. You're not hiding. You're out and forward. In fact, I would invite clients to come to my home when they wanted to do business with me. Come to my home, drop off your flyers, write me a check right there. You'll know where to find me. I was very transparent and about everything, and I think that plays to reassuring the clients that you're transparent and you're getting the job done. Networking is huge. Like when you said that word, I'm big into it. I'm big into human connection and people knowing each other's faces and names and knowing what they do and actually knowing a bit of why they do the work they do, a little bit of their soul. And so that's one of the tidbits I included in my video commercial, why I do this work. I do it because it's fun. I have a blast doing it. And that's absolutely the truth. It's just a fun business. And there's tons of opportunity in it. So connecting with humans, learning what they do for business, but even more importantly, why they do it. Like some people have a job, and the reason they get up every morning and go to work might be because for their family, to support their family. They love their family, and that's something to know about them. That's part of their soul. That's what drives them and motivates them. So just getting to know people's face, name, and why they do what they do is huge. And so the more people you connect with and the more people know what you do and why you do it, the better. The more your name's going to go around. Word of mouth is always the best form of marketing. So networking is everything. Getting to know people, getting people talking about each other, that's huge. Yeah, so get out there and make a name for yourself. Like connect with your community. Really exchange names and create rapport with people, actually connect with them. And the key to that is to actually take a genuine interest in them. Be curious about why they do what they do. How did you get into this line of work? Why do you do it? What's important to you in life? What are your challenges and your struggles? How can I help you? And when you connect in that way, then everyone's going to get to know you. You're going to get to know everyone, and you're going to be a part of a business community. And that's kind of just the essence of marketing, I guess you could say. So is that helping you out there at all?
Yeah, loving all these little golden tidbits you're throwing out there.
Cool, awesome, man. That's so exciting. That's exciting for me to hear that. I like to share. It's exciting for me to because you're at the beginning of your business, your flyer distribution business, and you're learning a lot really quickly, and it's awesome to like impart all I've learned to you like this.
Yeah, you've been incredibly helpful. So,
cool.
Taking in as much as I can.
Yeah, and we've got probably a handful of more questions here that you had sent me. We can go over. You said, do you find?
Yeah, I think you've answered quite a few of them here.
Yeah,
just in the natural course of conversation.
Yeah, I think we did kind of cover a lot of ground already. You had one thing you said. Do you find seasons play a role in customer type and levels of business? So, like you're saying, in the summertime, do you get more barbecue companies, and in the wintertime, you get more heating companies, and do you find that you get more business in the summer, less business in the winter? And that's a good question. Yeah, this business can be very seasonal. There's no doubt about that, because there's some businesses that only do business during certain times of years. And that totally depends on your region too, your climate. So in Southern California, where the weather was really mild, there were certain companies that could advertise all year long. And then there were other companies that wanted to advertise in the summertime, particularly like the party jumper companies and things like that. So a pizza company is going to want to advertise all year long, summer, fall, winter, you name it. A rainy day is like the best time to get a pizza flyer. People, for some reason, they get way more calls on rainy days. They call it pizza weather. But the companies like carpet cleaning, on the other hand, they're going to want to go all year long. People need their carpets cleaned. They need them in the winter and in the fall when it's holiday seasons and the family's going to be on the way and they want to get the house cleaned up. And they're going to need it in the summertime. So certain companies aren't going to care what the weather is. Some are. And yeah, there's definitely a seasonal dynamic in the business. Does that answer your question about the seasons, or was it something else?
No, I was just curious if you saw some sort of trend where your significantly busier during the summer than you are during the winter, regardless of the type of business. Just the reason why I ask that is, what should I expect when I start getting into the slower time frames? Like with my bag, I hope to have up to 20 customers in the bag maxed out, right? I believe you do 6, if I remember from your video, right? You staple together 6.
Yeah, I had
flyers.
upwards of 10 or 11 at times, and I encourage you to go for 20, man. I think the more the merrier is my concept of that. That's all I could observe was the more flyers you had, the more activity that everybody got. So go on.
Right. So I guess that leads to my next question is, if I remember from your video, right, you said that you basically told your customers, look, if I don't have, I don't know how you said this to them, and obviously in a very professional manner that keeps them wanting to do business with you, but if you don't have at least 6 flyers ready to go in any given week, you're not going to deliver? Is that what you said?
Yeah. There was a lot of my business model was such that for a great portion of my business that if I didn't have the 6 flyers, then I stopped distributing until I got another flyer, and then we could resume immediately. We could just stack and staple for 8 hours and then get back out there and start distributing again. And that didn't inhibit my business in any way. It didn't seem to bother my clients, or there was maybe a couple times when we sat on our hands longer than I would have liked to, just for whatever reason. I just didn't generate a flyer that week or whatever. But usually it wouldn't take long before someone came along and handed me another box of flyers, and we were off and running again. So
did you do that? Did you have that rule in place in the beginning? Because obviously, without any customers, it's really hard for me to not want to deliver at least 1 or 2 businesses just to kind of get.
Yeah, that's a challenge, right? When you're first getting started and you only have 1 or 2, 3 clients, 1 or 2 or 3 flyers, what do you tell them in the meantime while you're trying to get more flyers to make this worth your while, right? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, exactly. Because the first delivery I did was just 1 customer plus my own flyer, and I essentially lost money after the purchase of the bags and stuff like that. But I wanted to make sure I got that out, so I did it.
Yeah, right? Way to go, man. Oh, yeah, I totally commend that you following through. And then that was a lesson learned. You look at that, you took action, and you observe your results, and you say, okay, I lost money on that one. Now how can I change my approach and get closer to what it is that I want, which is a bag full of 20 flyers. So initially, I did the same thing. I was doing 1 flyer, 2 flyers, and I was like, what am I doing? I really quickly learned that I got to have a certain number of flyers. Now, okay, here's what I want to say, is that with 6 flyers at 6 cents each, I was getting 36 cents a door. I could afford to pay 10 cents to a runner, 5 cents to a driver, and I would still have like 16 cents or 10 cents left over for myself, something like that. So there was enough to go around basically when I had 6 flyers at 6 cents. So when there was less flyers, I only had 1 or 2 or 3 flyers, I was doing it all myself. I was the one driving to the neighborhood and then slapping on the rollerblades and going door to door. And so I was making a pretty penny with 3 or 4 flyers when I was doing the work myself, but I'd still rather have 5 or 6. So what do you tell your client in the meantime when you really want to wait until you have your 6 flyers? Well, you sell it that way. You approach your clients and say, look, I'm going to distribute a packet of flyers, and there's going to be at least 6 flyers, and so here's a piece of paper with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and as you can see, I have the names of 3 businesses already written in at the top. And I'm looking for 3 more businesses to take those 3 other positions, and then I'm going to inform everyone, okay, we've got our 6 flyers, it's time to go. So you can sell it that way, and I call it pre-selling. You pre-sell a campaign. I'll have 6 flyers, we're going to go to this region, this area. And so that way it's out in the open, and your clients will have patience for it. They'll understand your business model. So that's one thing I can suggest is sell it that way. And the other thing is just hustle. You might have a business model that allows you to just go out there and do the 3 flyers by yourself, and you'll make enough money that it's really worth your while to do it. And when you get your next 3 flyers, then you can hire people to help you do the job. It just depends on how you have it structured.
Sure. Okay. So I guess maybe I should adjust my business model a little bit to account for that. As of right now, one flyer probably wouldn't cut it, and unless I opted to not use a bag. My pricing model is quite a bit higher than yours. I don't know what your competition is like in San Diego. You're in San Diego, right, or San Francisco?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, this was in the San Diego region, Southern California region, and yeah. So every area has its own competitors, and some areas don't have any competitors. There's nobody offering this service, so it sounds like.
Yeah, that's essentially where I sit right now, right? We have the Columbus Dispatch that does the bag, and then there's me. So really trying to get a really good, fast grasp of this market. But yeah, getting the minimum set of flyers. The way I have it set up right now is they pay a pickup. So I guess what I can do is just hold off on pickups until I have all 6 customers ready to go, and then just do one big pickup.
Yeah, that's one way to do it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can do it that way. Another way is I'm going to pick up your box of flyers and your check, and so that's your deposit on this campaign. And I'm not going to cash your check or touch or even open that box of flyers until I have all 6. And so if for any reason you decide you're out or this doesn't happen, I can turn around and hand you back your box and your flyers, and you can go along your way, no loss. So, because I like to have some deposit of some kind. I want your box of flyers and a paycheck, on top of it. So that way I know you're you're committed. So does that help?
Maybe I'm trying to. I guess I'm trying to get a little rambunctious. So I opened up 3 neighborhoods, 1,000+ homes each neighborhood, so that they had some choice. And I thought maybe that might be.
Yeah, that sounds good.
The best way to go. So the problem is I'm offering to get those 3 neighborhoods delivered in a maximum of 2 days.
Oh, okay. So you're saying like you hand me your flyers and I'll have them done 2 days from now?
Well, I want their flyers a week in advance. That gives me plenty of time to pack the flyers in a bag, and then eventually, when I hire somebody to separate all the flyers or combine all the flyers and put them in a bag for me, maybe I can reduce that down to 2 days or something. But
sure.
If somebody wants to order 3,000 flyers, one neighborhood each, somebody else wants to go to just one neighborhood. I've got one neighborhood with one bag that has 2, and 2 other neighborhoods that have just 1. Managing all that might be fairly difficult, and then charging the customers. I've got it all set up through PayPal, so I can send them an invoice through PayPal. They can pay it with their credit card before I come pick them up, or at the time I come pick them up. So
there you go. Yeah, it sounds like you're figuring it out.
Tricky.
Yeah, that is exactly the challenge. Is okay. I've got these 3 neighborhoods, 3 different routes, and I want 6 flyers in each of them. And so sometimes it's spread out, and you're like, oh, I've got 5 flyers in all 3 of my spaces. Now I just need one, but I can't go in any of them. And then along comes the client, says he wants to be in all your spaces, and now you've got 6 for all 3, and now you're busy. So it's kind of the nature of the business. Is flexibility is a principle that you want to have worked into your business model so that you can kind of roll with those punches, and the flexibility is key. So some clients will say they don't care about picking from Route 1, Route 2, Route 3. They're saying, give me the old houses because I change carpet or do house painting, and none of the new houses want to see my flyer. They don't want to change their carpet or paint their house. I'm looking for the old houses. Other customers are saying, well, I do landscape design, and all the old houses already have it. I want new houses. So I don't know if you divvied it up that way, but like Route 1 could be an older community, Route 2 could be a new community, Route 3 could be some other specialty location of some kind.
I actually chose neighborhoods based on average income and household size, as well as mailboxes that meet the street so that I didn't have to go to the door. The rule here, the solicitation rule here is as long as you're not going near the door, you're okay. So you can put a bag on or around any mailbox, and you don't need to get
Really?
Yeah.
That's the city ordinance that you can put your bag of flyers on the mailbox?
Yeah, it changes up a little bit depending on the suburban areas and specific neighborhoods, but for the most part, that's the way it is. Yeah.
Okay, I was under the impression that it was like a federal USPS.
No. Yeah. You can't put
that you are not allowed to touch a mailbox. You can't put anything in it or tape anything on it. And so I've seen guys.
The inside of the mailbox is covered by the federal laws, not the outside.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I'm gonna have to research that after our call and do more research on that, because I was under the impression just don't go near a mailbox. Stay away from them, because that's the USPS property. And so what I have seen people do is go out on trash day, like people who are doing their own flyers. Maybe they have a lawn care company and they're just doing their own flyers by themselves. They go out on trash day and they'll tape their flyer to the trash can after it's been picked up. They basically follow the trash truck, and as soon as they put down the trash can, they stick a flyer on there, because they know the guy's going to come out of the house and grab the trash can and drag it back to the side of the house. And so there's his flyer taped to the handle.
That's clever.
Pretty clever, yeah.
That's clever, yeah.
Yeah, so that could be a model
though, right?
there. Huh?
Then you're restricting yourself down to 1 day of distribution.
Yeah, right. So there's always advantages.
Well, depending on the neighborhood, obviously.
Yeah. So let's move on to, you said, do you have a tactic for finding customers quickly when you really need to? And
well, that question was behind the, hey, how do I load up my bag?
Okay, yeah. Well, I guess I kind of already answered
so that if I tell my customer this thing is going out, yeah, you already took care of that.
Yeah, I guess it's depending on what mood I'm in. I'll either go business to business with my flyers and walk through 100 doors that day and pick up a client. That was on average. I pick up 1 to 3 clients if I walk through 100 business doors. Or I'd pick up the phone if I was in the mood to stay home and dial, and just call as many numbers as I can. Or if I was really in the mood, I'd get a big stack of flyers or a coupon book and collect every email address out of there and just start sending out, first-time contacts to new emails. But basically, just
have you heard of web scraping?
Huh?
Have you heard of web scraping?
Web scraping? What is that?
Yeah. So there's this tool you can put on Google Chrome called Web Scraper. Well, there's probably several different. The one I use is called Web Scraper anyway. And you basically tell it, go to Google Maps on a Google search. Let's say I want, I'll use an example. This one I just did recently, HVAC companies that are local. And it will automatically scrape name, phone number, address, and website to a Excel sheet essentially for you. And then you go and find the email addresses of all these and the main contacts for everybody in your local area. And then you use, for example, HubSpot or Gmass or something like that to send out mass cold email campaigns. And it'll track all those emails for you so that you know when it's opened and if they clicked on a link within that email. And that will give you basically essentially a warm lead, right? These are people that are somewhat interested because they clicked on something. To call them to do so you can limit your cold calls to the people that might be interested.
Oh, excellent. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, it's a little time consuming. Perfect for an admin.
Perfect for a what?
It's perfect for hiring like a virtual assistant or an admin. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I get to that point, I will certainly be doing that.
So it's okay. So this little app does lead generation. It generates a list of prospects, and then you said you use HubSpot, or what was the other one you used to send out the email blast?
Well, I use them kind of cohesively. One app that I use is called Gmass, or it stands for Gmail Mass Emails, right?
Oh, Gmass.
There's another one.
MASS.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's several other different types of add-ons that you can use for sending out mass email campaigns. I found that this is one of the best ones. It allows you for free to send out up to 50 email campaigns for 24 hours, or 50 email addresses for 24 hours. If you start paying for their services, you can start sending out insane amounts of email addresses. But if you're scraping for local community or customers, you may not need that, right?
Okay, so Web Scraper, GMass, Web Scraper and GMass. Man, thanks, Bob. You're laying down some gold nuggets right now. So, yeah, anyone that's listening.
Hey, you helped me.
yeah, anyone that's listening, check it out, Web Scraper and GMass. That sounds really interesting. I'll definitely be looking into that.
And HubSpot. HubSpot's fantastic.
Oh, HubSpot's fantastic. Now, what do you like about HubSpot? What's the advantage there?
Well, if you have your website up and running, HubSpot, in my opinion, it surpasses MailChimp by large margins in terms of what you can do for free. But you can create your own sign-up forms on your website. You can create a chat box. So if somebody wants to just chat with you, you can have a notification where you can literally chat with a customer who's interested in your services right then and there without them calling or emailing you. Plus, it can track all of your email conversations with your customers from the point of first contact all the way through a deal or a closed deal. You can create all your email campaigns within it, and all that's done for free. The stuff that you pay for, you may not need until you're an enterprise. So it's really cool stuff.
Wow, okay, HubSpot, right on. I got to give that a taste. I'm going to see what that's all about. That sounds great. Yeah, so because I've been using MailChimp, and I like MailChimp, but it has its limitations, and so I'm going to check out HubSpot and see how it compares. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no, I was using MailChimp too, and I was like, I think HubSpot's worth that. And I hate to sound all nerdy on you, but but it's working really well for me so far, and I can't wait to see what it can do as I start to get a lot of customers in, right?
Yeah, how exciting, man. Thanks for turning me on to HubSpot and WebScraper and Gmass too. I'm going to check them all out.
No problem.
So another question here is, what level of importance do you place on having a website? I place a lot of importance on that. I think it's really important. I think you got to have a video with that's a commercial. You know, it shows your personality and it shows why you do flyer distribution, and it invites people to come join your flyer distribution, and it answers all their questions right in one video. Because then people will be picking up the phone and send you emails saying, hey, I'm ready to go. I saw your video. I got all the info I need, and I have a box of flyers for you. So I think having the website and the video is very important. Also on the website, you can show the maps of the areas you cover. Some companies want to see this, you know, that way they know that you're a professional and you're branding yourself with some sort of business name, and you're not just a fly-by-night, you know, I'm doing a box of flyers this week, but you know, I'm not a professional. So it lets people know that you're a professional, and it helps build rapport. So the website and the video, super important. Highly recommend it. And there's so many options these days. You can slap together a website so quick if you're a do-it-yourself kind of guy. Wix.com, you know, you can put together a free site. And then there's Weebly, and there's lots of options, obviously. So, but yeah, I think it's real important.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I set mine up thinking the same thing.
Okay.
Hey, one of the questions I had for you was quoting projects outside of your pre-selected neighborhood. So you get customers who are saying, hey, I don't like the neighborhood you're going to because I prefer you go to these neighborhoods. You know, are you quoting these customers, or are you saying, well, maybe I'll open up that neighborhood at some point?
Yeah, good question. It poses a conundrum because here you are, you've got 5 flyers booked for Area 1, and you're looking for that last 6th flyer, and then along comes someone saying, oh, I want you to do this completely different area. And that's cool. That's fine. You know, that's just feedback from the universe and from your marketplace of what's being asked. And so the flexibility principle comes in. How can I take advantage of this, and what am I willing to do? You know, how can I do this? The way I responded to that was, if someone was asking me to go to an area and it was the only flyer I had for that area, and if they wanted the distribution to be exclusive, just their one flyer, then I charged a premium price. I would just go ahead and ask for my 36 cents. Because I'd tell them, look, I get 36 cents a door when I do 6 flyers. If you want me to do your flyer by itself, then it's going to be 36 cents a door. Most people can't afford to do that, and that's okay. Because that wasn't really my market, you know. I was looking for people who wanted to stack flyers up. And
but still, even that 36 cents is, I mean, that's well below the mail campaign if somebody wanted to use USPS, right? What do they have, 49, 52 cents now?
Yeah, it really depends on how you purchase a bulk mail campaign through the post office. You can get it done for a lot less than 36 cents each. Even though stamps are so expensive these days, when you do a bulk mailing, it comes way down in price. So another thought was, you know, if someone wanted me to do their flyer by itself, and they just wanted me to do 500 doors, well, that's a solo gig. I could go out on my rollerblades and do that in one day. And so for 25 cents each, I could make it worth my while to do it too. So there's an opportunity there to make some money and enjoy the day on my rollerblades. But
or send somebody else out. You collect 5 cents on that campaign, but you didn't have to do it.
What's that? I didn't understand.
Well, like sending out a runner for that campaign. It's a one-off campaign that somebody wants to do in a neighborhood that you don't have pre-selected, but instead of you doing it yourself at 25 cents, you're paying somebody whatever 10, 15, 20 cents and collecting the difference and not doing that campaign yourself. Right.
I think I still don't quite understand what you're saying. Are you saying that
hiring it out and keeping the profit, the difference?
Oh, it's the difference between hiring a runner and a driver, and then giving them a portion, and then versus you just going doing it yourself. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, your profit margins might be a little bit lower on a one-off campaign like that unless you price it accordingly. But ultimately, you're not doing it. You've got a runner out there doing it. Now, I don't know if I'm doing things a little differently than you or not. I don't imagine I would ever send a driver out behind. I think it's because I would be using apps, GPS apps on the phone that they would have to do a screenshot of the time and date stamp.
Cool.
So
cool.
they could show me, hey, I did this. And
so
then
they're going to transport
I can
themselves?
do a hot.
And they have to transport themselves to go do the work?
Exactly. So I was thinking about throwing in an advertisement inside my flyer saying, hey, if you want to run this route and make money, that way I'm getting somebody who's already in the neighborhood. Hopefully they didn't have to travel too far. Take care of that neighborhood. They get paid their X amount of dollars for that neighborhood. But if they want to pick up additional neighborhoods, they obviously can. But ultimately, they just keep that Runkeeper app. I use Runkeeper so that the GPS track their entire location for that neighborhood. They do a screenshot, shows me time and date stamp on it, so I know that they completed it. And then once they text that to me, that goes to the customer, and then I do a spot check, right? Drive behind them and make sure that I see flyers on mailboxes.
Okay. Okay, man, I like what I'm hearing. Yeah, that is very different from what I did. I can see the difference. So what you're saying is you would find an individual who was willing to run that route, and then you'd have an agreement with them where they're going to distribute that route, and they're going to use the GPS app to track their movement so you can see exactly that they actually walked from door to door to door to door. And then as they're doing their work, you're following up right behind to go spot check and look. That sounds like a good program. One of the things that comes to mind is, in my experience, if I'm going to be running door to door to door, I don't want to be driving a car. I know if there's any driving of the car involved, I'd like someone to be driving the car for me so I can jump in and out of the passenger seat and leave the engine running, and I'm not constantly parking and putting my seatbelt on and off. Well, the seatbelt goes on and off, but constantly locking the doors and unlocking the doors and starting the car. It's easier to just have the car running and someone driving you, and then at that rate, if you're going to have someone driving and you're jumping in and out, you might as well have 2 or 3 people jumping in and out, and you just get the job done in a third of the time. So my system was different. My system was a little different, but it sounds like yours can work too.
Yeah, you don't. So if you're using a car and 3 people, that GPS app is still tracking the location, whether you're walking, riding, driving, it doesn't make a difference. And then if you really have 3 people running that route, just all 3 are using that app and all 3 send you screenshots, and you can kind of mesh them together to know that whole route was hit and still do it,
Cool.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, and so one of what's coming to mind now is that everybody's going to have their own way of designing their business model. They're going to have their own operating procedure, if you will. So
absolutely. Yeah,
it'll be a little different. And this is one of the neat and fun things about this business is you creating your own system. And what's neat about this podcast is everybody's getting to hear how we all did it a little differently, and then they get to decide how they're going to do it, and we can kind of learn from each other and stuff. So that's kind of one of the fun parts of the business is solving those problems and coming up with creative solutions. And I think that's definitely an aspect of like a characteristic of people who do this kind of business is they're creative problem solvers and stuff.
Yeah, it's been fun for sure, no doubt. Not to say that the building process doesn't have its bumps in the roads.
What's that? Not to say what?
Not to say that the building of the business doesn't have its bumps in the roads.
Oh, it definitely, yeah. It's a challenge to get something like this off the ground. I don't know. When I got started, I just start small. And let things grow. So like when I started, I literally just printed a stack of quarter-page flyers that said I do door-to-door flyer distribution, and I just went from business to business to business, and I picked up a few flyers, and then I went out and distributed them myself. And I learned what I learned from that experience, and then I applied those lessons and kept changing my business model and just growing it. So yeah, there's bumps along the road. Definitely, you're gonna, as you learn those lessons, you come into these different situations. You learn how dynamic this business is, how many different elements there are, and the elements are always changing. Well, some of them are changing. So, so your business model itself needs to be flexible. I think that's the name of the game. I heard a wise man once say, the person or system with the most flexibility will control the system. So if your business model is the system, and if it's flexible, then it's gonna be able to take advantage of as many opportunities as possible. So flexibility is one of those principles you kind of want to work into your business model whenever possible. I think I answered all your questions that you emailed me. Did you have any others for us today?
Well, you just mentioned starting small and building up. I sometimes get ahead of myself, and I like to think to the future as to what my next step might be once some steps have been achieved. One of them is scaling. So when I get to that point when I'm ready to scale, I guess in my mind I'm thinking, well, I'll get runners first, and once I get runners, that'll give me the opportunity to do admin stuff. And once I get admin stuff, that'll give me an opportunity to get more customers. And once I got that going, I'll hire out the admin position, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know if that's how you worked it or whatever. I was just kind of curious what your thoughts were on that.
Okay, on scaling. So what part did I hire out first? The runners, the drivers, the flyer prep? Yeah, good question. Scaling. I remember
Exactly.
At one point I had 3 different business models on one sheet of paper. I just drew a couple lines down the center, and I was like, okay, scale 1, scale 2, scale 3, basically. So scale 1 was me doing all the work myself. And scale 2 was something, scale 3 was like a full-on operation where all I was doing was sales, and then I had someone prepping the flyers, someone else driving a car, and he had 3 runners in the car. And then scale 2 was something in between the two, and that was kind of like where I was at for a long time, was in between, trying to figure out how to get from scale 1 to scale 3. But that took some flexibility and some creative. What it took was sort of just responding to the circumstances at hand at the time. So sometimes I found myself doing all my own flyer prep, and then I would just hire a driver to drive me around so I could jump in and out of the passenger seat. And sometimes I traded spots, and I did the driving, and I just had one person jumping in and out of the passenger seat. And it's really kind of up to you. You just look at your circumstances and decide how you want to approach your business today. And but so what you're mentioning there is scaling, and how do I scale from one level to the next. It's a very familiar psychology. Like, I'm really familiar with that, having that problem and wondering, how am I going to scale up, and how is this going to move. And the best answer I can give you is just to take it a day at a time and respond to the circumstances you have at hand today. Just depending on what your clients are asking you to do today. Look, I want you to go to these neighborhoods, and you've got this many flyers on hand. It's up to you how you want to get the job done. Yeah, so it's going to take a little bit of creativity and on your own part to answer some of those questions. But I think I told you. So I think that pretty much tells you how I went about it with scale 1, where I was doing everything myself, and scale 3 was like with flyer preppers and the driver and runners, and all I was doing was sales, and then just kind of being creative in the meantime, in between those 2 scales, deciding how I wanted to approach it that day. So, anything else, Bob?
Did you put benchmarks in place? Like, hey, if I reach either X customers or X dollars, I'm going to get my first runner or something like that.
I did. Well, I said, like, when I'm getting, I think it was something like 25 cents or less per door, I'll do all the work myself. When it's between 25 and 36, I'm in scale 2, so that means I can hire out a little bit of the work, and it's up to me which part of that I want to hire out, whether a driver or prep or runner. And then scale 3, looked like I was having 36 cents per door or more. And at that rate, I would give 5 cents to a driver, 10 cents to a runner, 5 cents to prepper, and the rest was mine.
Very nice. Okay, very good.
Yeah. So have fun being creative, Bob. And I think we've been on the call for a while now. I think we should probably end the podcast because people only have so much time to listen anyways. And it sounds like I've answered all your questions. So unless you have anything else to add,
that's awesome.
You have anything else you'd like to say or anything like that to the audience? Like maybe go ahead and share again your website if you want. You can share your email address. You can tell us a little bit about what your business does and what you're offering there in the Columbus area really quick. So any businesses in the Columbus, Ohio area who's looking to get a flyer distributed, contact Bob. And how can they do that, Bob?
Yeah, well, first they can call me at 614-388-8891. That'll reach my phone directly. They can visit my website at a1000flyers.com, which is a1000flyers.com, which, of course, there's other ways to contact me within there. I service right now mostly, my pre-selected neighborhoods are in the Dublin and Powell area, although, of course, once I start to grow, I'll be adding more neighborhoods to that. So anybody in the area who wants to get in my flyer bag, you'll be helping support a small business and that growth. So you can grow with me. It'd be great.
Excellent. All right, so that's how you can get in touch with Bob Chapman if you want to get flyers distributed in the Columbus, Ohio area. And if you're looking to get into the business and start your own door-to-door flyer distribution business, head over to my website, usd2d.com, and pick up a copy of my book. It's called Start Your Own Door-to-Door Flyer Distribution Business, and maybe you'll be featured on the Door-to-Door podcast next time. You can also contact me through that website. Thanks again, Bob. Thanks so much for this call, man, and good luck out there. Have fun with your business.
Thank you.
It's the most important thing, man. If you're not having fun, then find something else to do that is fun.
Well, I appreciate all your help and all that you do, man. You really pushed me forward in what I'm doing here. So without you, I don't know if I would be as far. So it's awesome.
That's so cool to hear, man. Golly, thanks for filling me up with a big smile this morning. Okay, Bob. Well, keep in touch, man.
Hey, you too. Take care.
Bye-bye.